Hello everyone, my name is Roya, and today I'm coming to you with my February wrap-up. I did not do a part 1 wrap-up, not because I didn't read enough books, because I sure as heck did, but because I actually just did not have any kind of time to film. I'm actually still completely out of time to film, and I'm just squeezing this in when I can. So basically, I am going to be talking about all the books I read in the whole month instead of the latter half or something, and instead of splitting them into halves. I'm gonna have to talk about the books really freaking fast. So anyway, I did have 2 DNFs this month, one after another pretty much at like the end of the month. So the Bone season, I got about halfway through it, and Girls in the Moon, I got 50 pages in. Nothing was necessarily wrong with either of these 2 books. There wasn't anything that made me go, I don't want to read this anymore, but it was just the fact that they were both so boring. I was bored out of my mind and I could not enjoy either one, and I was so bummed. The first book that I read in February is Not Your Backup by C.B. Lee. This is the third and so far most recent, but not exactly final, book in the Sidekick Squad series. I read the first 2 the previous month. This one I didn't like as much because I felt like it was really, really draggy compared to the other ones, and there just wasn't as much to it. It's a little bit longer, and it's definitely full of more stuff that has no point, but it was still a pretty enjoyable read. Tensor Series by Neon Yang. This is a bind-up of 4 books that are all fairly short. Involves a society in which all children are basically genderless until they decide to get confirmed as one binary gender over the other, or they can always just not do either of those things. And that was what intrigued me about this, but it was a pretty small part of the story, really. And there wasn't a whole lot to it aside from that, but what I thought was kind of weird was the fact that when the children are of age and they get confirmed as the gender that they feel like they are, all of that, they actually get essentially like they have the technology to actually make them look like they're cis and that gender if they're not. And so I thought, like, for a totally like gender non-conforming society, that seemed kind of weird. Like, are they really gender non-conforming in this society or not? And it was just kind of odd. I wasn't really expecting that. I was sort of like, really? I don't know, but maybe that's part of the point. I'm really not entirely sure what the point was that these books were trying to make. But anyway, I definitely did enjoy reading them, just not as much as I thought I was going to. She Who Became the Sun by Shelley Parker Chan, probably one of my favorite reads of the month. This is a historical-ish, fantasy-ish, full of really awesome characters, and there is there are 2 ladies who are main characters who get married to each other, and I thought that was great. But yeah, and there's definitely a lot of like action and battles and stuff, which I thought was great. But yeah, I really enjoyed reading this book. A Fire Endless. This is the sequel to A River Enchanted, which I just read late last year. I actually and I already loved A River Enchanted, but I actually liked A Fire Endless even more. So this is the second and I believe final book, and there are just 2 of them, and this one tied up all the loose ends, and it really was so good, and I really loved it. Ella Enchanted. This was actually the first time I had ever read this, but of course I remember the movie, and my friend who had read the book and seen the movie like was telling me how completely different the 2 were and all of that, so I eventually wanted to read the book, so I read the book, and it was definitely really good. I actually like really couldn't put it down, and it is really different from the movie for sure. Like, there's actually a lot more that makes it a Cinderella retelling, whereas in the book or in the movie, it's not made to seem like a Cinderella retelling at all. It's really odd. I don't know. And finally, The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. This is about a woman who tries to kill herself, and she ends up basically in this midnight library. Each book is a different life that she could have led based on a different decision that she would have made or something like that, basically. So she essentially discovers parallel universes to like different lives that could have been hers had she done things slightly differently, or even a lot differently. It just sort of depends, and it's so good. I absolutely loved this book. This is definitely one of my favorite reads of the year. Of course, once the story gets going, you know what's going to happen at the end. It's obvious, um, and but it was still like so heartwarming when it did. Basically, like it was just a really good book, and I could barely put it down. I really kept wanting to see what like weird thing would make the next life she picked up and tried to live, like not the one for her, and all of that. It was just so odd. But anyway, so those are the books that I read in February. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you very soon with a new video. Bye.